As the Ukrainian military continued its rapid advances along multiple fronts, the White House announced another massive arms shipment for the war against Russia, sending over 200 armored vehicles in its latest arms shipment. Along with the armored vehicles, the U.S. announced the shipment of 4 HIMARS long-range missile systems, 16 M777 howitzers, together with 500 Excalibur long-range guided artillery shells. Ukrainian forces continued their advance on 2 fronts Tuesday, leading Russian forces to retreat in the eastern regions of Donetsk and Lugansk, as well as the Kherson region to the south. Speaking Tuesday night, Ukrainian Prime Minister Volodymyr Zelensky said dozens of settlements had been retaken. This week alone, dozens of population centers have been liberated. These are in Kherson, Kharkiv, Luhansk and Donetsk regions all together, adding, "This is far from a complete list. Our soldiers do not stop." Serhiy Kuzan, an advisor to Ukraine's defense ministry, told the Financial Times that Russian forces are not operating in a coordinated fashion because we chose the right tactics to destroy their communications and supply lines. In the preceding weeks, Ukrainian forces had destroyed command centers, resupply lines, and weapons depots, in some cases dozens of miles behind the Russian front. In a Pentagon briefing Monday, a senior military official made clear that the free operation of Ukrainian long-range missiles were made possible by Ukrainian/NATO air superiority over the contested regions of Ukraine, made possible by the deployment of advanced anti-aircraft systems from the US and NATO. The official said, "It is a contested environment in the air and predominantly Russian forces, as, again, you highlight them, launching munitions from safe zones, so to speak, right over Russian-held territory or not too far from the border to try to evade Ukrainian air defenses." The latest advances follow the capture of Lyman, a strategic transit hub in the north of Donetsk, where Russian forces staged a disorganized retreat, and were reportedly killed in large numbers by Ukrainian forces as they were retreating. All Russian forces withdrew in poor order, suffering high casualties from artillery fire as they attempted to leave, said a Western official quoted by the Washington Post. In Kharkiv, the officials said troops received an order to cede the territory. But in Lyman, we think that the Russian troops retreated despite orders to defend and remain. The Associated Press reported that Russian troops left the bodies of their comrades lying in the streets as they retreated, and AP photographers documented the bodies of Russian soldiers being torn apart by animals. The advances by Ukrainian forces continued as Russia struggled to train and mobilize the hundreds of thousands of reservists it had called up 2 weeks ago, amid widespread reports that troops were not provided uniforms, supplies, or body armor. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said Russia had called up 200,000 men out of a planned total of 300,000. By contrast, the U.S. media reports that over 400,000 people had fled the country since then. Mobilized soldiers reportedly have to purchase their own uniforms and a first aid kit. The Washington Post wrote, prices of bulletproof vests have dramatically increased in Russia over the past 2 weeks, with some stores hiking up the prices by more than 10 times. In total, a soldier looking to purchase a full uniform appropriate for fighting in Ukraine would have to spend roughly $3,000 out of pocket.